Hello dear students, as you all know we have done chapter number 1 electrostatic and chapter number 1 electric charges and fields. Okay, numericals, some of the numericals and NCERT numericals which are very important we have already done during our lecture, but some of the questions are still left, so that I have left up to you. If you face any doubt in any question, let me know, whether in the comment section or whether in the WhatsApp group of the school. Will resolve that, and if so much numericals will be there, then after I'll make a lecture of numericals only. Okay, today we'll start the chapter number 2, that is electrostatic potential and capacitance. The first topic of the chapter will be electrostatic potential energy. Electrostatic potential energy. This is the first topic of the chapter. Actually, this chapter is all about the energy. Okay. In the previous chapter, we studied about charges, we studied about force exerted by the charges, we studied about electric field, and we studied about Gauss law, which is basically gives us a method to determine electric field in a given due to given configuration of charge. But today we'll study about electrostatic potential energy. Actually, whenever there is a kind of force, if you've done some amount of work done, if you've done some work against the force or by the force, then there is a potential energy in the system. So basically in this chapter we'll study about energy which is contained by a system of charge, and because of that energy, how that energy can be given to a system. Because of that we study capacitance. Capacitance, it is basically comes into capacitors, right? So first of all we'll study about electrostatic potential energy. Before starting electrostatic potential energy, let me ask, what is potential energy? In the class 11th we have done a chapter called work power energy. In that chapter, potential energy we have studied in a very detailed manner. So what is potential energy? That this is a question. So what we know that forces are there of two types. One is conservative in nature, and second one is obviously non-conservative. What are conservative and what are non-conservative forces? Conservative forces, the work done by these forces is independent of path. Such forces are called conservative force. Non-conservative forces, work done by these forces is dependent, path dependent. Okay, work done by these forces, path dependent. Okay, so electric force, the electrostatic force which we have studied in the first chapter, it is actually a conservative force. And when it is a conservative force, the work done by the force or work done against the force will be independent of path. And whenever a force is conservative in nature, then we study this concept which is called potential energy. Okay, potential energy is energy which is contained by a system due to specific positions. Okay, due to specific positions. And for conservative, we know that work done by a conservative force is change in potential energy, that is a U initial minus U final. So for change in potential energy, delta U, which is U final minus U initial, what we do? We do minus times of work done by conservative force or work done by external force, right? Delta U is equal to U final potential energy minus initial potential energy, which is equal to minus times the conservative force, or which is equal to work done by external force. So basically potential energy, the concept of potential energy is not new. Only when it is due to electrostatic fields, electrostatic forces, then only we will call it electrostatic potential energy. Okay. Now we will try to calculate how the potential energy is defined in electrostatics. Let us see. Okay. The concept is clear. What we need to do for calculating change in potential energy, that is your U final minus U initial. What we have to do? We have to calculate minus times work done by conservative force. Okay. Suppose there is a charge which is capital Q. and at a distance r1 from here there is a point A and there is a point B which is at a distance r2. Okay, is it clear? A small charge, that is a small q, a charge small q is brought from B to A. A small charge is brought from B to A. Charge is brought where? B to A. Okay. What we need to find out, what is the change in potentiality, that is your delta U. So that can be calculated by minus times work done by conservative force. Now what is the work done by conservative force? Just suppose if it is at B, the force which is exerted by the capital Q on the small q will be K capital Q small q upon R2 square, because the distance is R2. When it is at A, then force at A will be K capital Q small q upon R1 square. The force is not constant, force is variable. Force is not constant, force is variable. So we have to calculate the work done, and if we have to calculate the work done, then definitely we will go by integration. Now for what integration, or what I am going to do is, just see, from here till here I am taking a small element, that is a dr, and let the distance of dr from here is r. Okay, the force which is acting on the q will be towards this direction, because this capital Q's and the small q both are positive, force will be that direction. F and dr are in opposite direction. F and dr are in opposite direction. Okay, so let us calculate the work done. The work done to carry charge Q from B to A will be W is equal to, and it is work done by the conservative force. I am calculating work done by this force. Okay, so work done by conservative force is equal to integration of dW. What is dW? Suppose from here till here the work done is dW, and which will be equal to F vector dot dr vector. The value of dr will be varying from R2 to R1. So it starts from R2, it comes to an end of R1. Now work done by conservative force will be, just see, the value of F is, first of all the direction of F and dr, they are in opposite. So what we are going to have, F dr cos 180 degree, limit R2 to R1. If we solve it, it will give minus 1. We will have integration R2 to R1 F dr with 1 minus sign. Now putting the value of F, we are going to have work done by conservative forces minus R2 to R1. The value of F is, at a distance R, the force is K capital Q small q upon R square into dr. Okay, K capital Q small q upon R square into what? dr. Now just see, K capital Q small q comes out of integration, and we will have integration of 1 by R square. Integration of 1 by R square will be what? So it will be, see, R to the power 2, when it goes up in the numerator it will become R to the power minus 2. When we integrate it, we will have R to the power minus 2 plus 1 upon minus 2 plus 1. It will become R to the power minus 1 upon minus 1. It will become 1 by R, minus 1 by R. Okay, so what we do? We put integration of 1 by R square as minus 1 by R always. So integration of 1 by R square is minus 1 by R square, and it is R2 to R1. Now you can send this sign out of the bracket. So work done by conservative forces, K capital Q small q in the bracket 1 upon R1, sorry 1 by R it should be, minus 1 upon R2. Is it clear? This is the work done by conservative force. This is the work done by conservative force. Is it clear? So what we have got basically, we have got work done by conservative forces KQQ 1 upon R1 minus 1 upon R2. Okay. Now suppose, since we are dealing with vector quantities, what I am going to do is, from here till here, the distances which are measured from capital Q. The direction of R1 is from here till here, means from this direction. Direction of R is also in this direction. The direction of R2 is also in this direction. All these are in the same direction. But dr in opposite direction. And F is in this direction. If I say this direction is positive and this direction is negative, okay, actually I have done a mistake and I am rectifying it now. If the direction is positive, this direction is negative, then dr is negative. As per this, dr is negative. So because of that, when we put over here, so we have a minus dr over here. And because of this minus, we have also what? We have plus now. Okay? And when here we have plus, here it will be plus, here it will be plus, and because of this minus sign, it will become 1 upon R2 minus 1 upon R1. Okay? 1 upon R2 minus 1 upon R1. Right? Now just see, work done by conservative force comes out to be KQQ in bracket 1 upon R2 minus 1 upon R1. Now the change in potential energy, that is your delta U, which is given by U final minus U initial, is given by minus times work done by conservative force. And when we put an additional negative sign over here, it will become U final minus U initial. It will become KQQ. Inside the bracket it will be 1 upon R1 minus 1 upon R2. Okay? 1 upon R1 minus 1 upon R2. Now, if I say, if B is at infinity, then R2 is infinite. And if R2 is infinite, if you put over here, then what will happen? The change in potential energy comes out to be K capital Q small q upon R1. So if a charge is brought from infinite, to a point, then what happens? The work done in the process which changes the potential energy is KQQ by R. Okay? KQQ by R, because A is at R1 distance, so it is R1. If a charge is brought from infinity to a point A, then work done in the process is given by KQQ by R, and this very thing is called electrostatic potential energy for this configuration when a charge capital Q and a small q are placed at a distance R1 from each other. So from here we define electrostatic potential energy. Let us define it. The definition is, let me rub it also. The definition is, what we are going to define? We are going to define electrostatic potential energy. And what we say? We say that the work done to bring a charge from infinite to a point is stored in the form of electrostatic potential energy. And for a configuration, suppose this is a Q1 charge, this is another charge, this is Q1, this is Q2, and the distance between them is R. Then what is the potential energy of this system? The potential energy U is given by K Q1 Q2 by R. Just we have proved the formula. Okay, the potential energy is given by K Q1 Q2 by R. Now suppose if this charge would have been positive, it is positive, but the another charge Q2 is negative, and the separation between them is R only. So just the formula we have proved, in that formula what would have happened, that the direction of force will be reversed. So one additional negative sign should be there, and because of that the potential energy becomes negative. So it will become minus Q1 Q2 upon R. Okay. So what we learned from here, if the cases of repulsion, if the charges are of same type, then the potential energy is positive. But if the charges are of opposite type, then the potential energy comes out to be negative. You need to understand that this could be understood in another method, like whenever we put potential energy formula, we put it by sign. Okay, we'll put the potential energy with sign. Like Q1 is positive, Q2 is positive, put the charges with their sign. Q1 is positive, Q2 is negative, put the charges with sign, it automatically comes out to be negative. So whenever we write the expression for potential energy, the charges are kept with their sign. And because of that, when one positive, another positive is there, the potential energy of the system is positive. But if one charge is negative and one charge is positive, then the potential energy comes out to be negative. The logic of potential energy can be understood in another manner also. Suppose there is nothing. Okay, here we have nothing. No charge is present here in any system. But what happens? From infinite we bring one charge. From infinity we bring one charge and we put it here. Okay, we put it here. Earlier Q1 is at infinity, but now it is here. From infinity it is brought here. The amount of work done will be 0 because before Q1 there was no charge, there were no charges, and there was not any force acting on the Q1. But when we bring Q2 from infinity, then definitely Q1 will exert a force on Q2, and if we keep it at a distance R, then the potential energy of the system is given by K Q1 Q2 by R. Potential energy can be also understood as the work done to assemble the charge. The total work done to assemble the system. From infinity we bring Q1, from infinity we bring Q2. The total work done in bringing Q1 and Q2 and place them at a distance R from each other, the work done is given by K Q1 Q2 by R, which is the potential energy. So basically potential energy is also defined as the work done to assemble the system, Potential energy can also be defined as the work done to assemble the system, right? So this can also be a definition of potential energy. And from this definition, we write the potential energy of 3-point charge system. We write the potential energy of 3-point charge system. Suppose one charge is there Q1, another charge is there Q2, and one more charge is there Q3. Okay, this distance is R31, this distance is R12, this distance is R23. The potential energy of the system is given by, first bring Q1 from the infinity, there will be no work done. Then bring Q2 from the infinity, then we'll have a work done. Potential energy is given by K Q1 Q2 by R12. Okay. Then bring Q3. When you bring Q3, you have to work done. You have to done work against Q1. You have to do work against Q2. you have to do work against Q1, you have to do work against Q2. So for Q2, the work done, the potential energy stored will be Q2 Q3 upon R23, and against Q1 the work done or the potential energy will be RQ3 Q1 upon R32. Okay, so this is the expression for the potential energy for 3-point charge system. Suppose 4 charges are there, square 4 charges are there. One is Q1, another is Q2, Q3, Q4. 4 charges are there. Then you have to find the potential energy of the system. How we can find out? How we can find out? Just see. So for potential energy, when we bring Q1, there will be no energy. When we bring Q2, suppose this distance is R1, this distance is R2, this distance is R3, this distance is R4. So for Q1, there will be no energy. For Q2, we will have Q1, Q2 upon R1. Then after, when we bring Q3, you have to do work against Q2, you have to do work against Q1. So it will be Q2, Q3 upon R2 plus K Q3, Q1 upon this distance. It will be under root R1 square plus R2 square. Then after this Q4, for Q4 we have 3 work done against this, against this, against this. So what we are going to have? We are going to have plus Q4 Q1 upon R4 plus K Q4 Q2 upon this distance. So this distance is given by under root R4 square plus under root R1 square. R4 square plus R1 square. Okay? And then after, last one Q3 with Q3 K Q4 Q3 upon R3. So this will be the potential energy of the system. For writing potential energy, what you have to do, you have to just assume that if you are bringing the charges from the infinity. For first charge, there will be no work done. For the second charge, work done against the first one. For the third charge, work done against the second, work done against the first. For the fourth charge, work done against the first, work done against the second, work done against the third. For the fifth charge, this will go on. Right? So this is how we calculate the potential energy. Just remember, students, while writing the expression of potential energy, you must write the sign of the charges. Don't forget this. Is it clear? Okay, let us move ahead now. Okay, the next topic is potential energy of an electric dipole kept in a uniform field. Potential energy of a dipole kept in a uniform field. Okay, let us do. Suppose in an electric field, uniform electric field, there is a dipole. Okay, here the requirement of first chapter comes. Okay, if you have not seen the first lecture or first chapter lectures, then you have to must see first lecture because first chapter, because without clearing the first chapter you cannot do the second one. Okay, just take care of this thing. Suppose now what happens, this dipole makes an angle theta with the electric field. We all know that there is a torque which is given by PE sin theta. Now suppose the dipole is rotated from theta 1 to theta 1 to theta 2. Suppose the dipole is rotated from theta 1 to theta 2 angle. Then what will be the work done in the process? Then work done is given by see, when a body is linearly moving, then the work done is given by force into displacement. But if a body is rotating, then in this case the work done is given by, in place of force we have torque, because torque does the same role as the force is doing in the linear motion, and in place of displacement we have angular displacement. So basically work done in this given by torque vector into theta vector. Is it clear? So basically here also the work done will be given by torque vector into theta vector. But the problem is the torque depends on the theta. So what we do? We take elementary and then we integrate it from theta 1 to theta 2. So basically torque vector dot d theta vector theta 1 to theta 2. Is it clear? Now you put the values. So in place of torque d theta cos 0 is 1. So what we are going to have? Theta 1 to theta 2. In place of torque we can write P sin theta into d theta. P is constant, so P is out of the integration sign. We have theta 1 to theta 2 sin theta cos d theta. The integration of sin theta is cos theta. So we have PE. The integration we have done. The integration of sin theta is actually minus cos theta. Theta 1 to theta 2. If minus taken out, then minus PE cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. This is the work done, and hence the potential energy, because we have calculated work done by external. Suppose the dipole is like this, okay, the dipole is like this and you are rotating the direction of torque you are putting, the dipole is moving in the same direction. That's why here I am taking the angle 0. So already I am calculating work done by the external force. Therefore, I can write the potential energy directly. So potential energy is minus PE in bracket cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. Okay, so this is the expression for potential energy, and it is what? U is equal to PE cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. Slightly it is going downward. Okay, but you write in straight line. U is equal to minus PE cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. Theta 2 is the final angle, theta 1 is the initial angle. Suppose the initial angle would have been 90 degree. If the initial angle would have been 90 degree, if theta 1 is equal to 90 degree and theta 2 is equal to theta only, then we have U is equal to minus PE cos theta. Then U will be equal to what? Minus P vector dot E vector. This is the potential energy for a particular angle theta. This is the potential energy for a particular angle theta. Why we have done so? Why we have done so? Whenever, if you remember the concept of potential energy, so there is not a thing which is called potential energy. We define the change in potential energy, and for reference we choose a point where the potential energy is 0. Like so, just a moment before we have derived the formula for electrostatic potential energy, and you see that we defined the potential energy from infinity to a point. Why we have taken infinity? Because at infinity the potential energy is 0. Here also, since it is the function of cos theta, so at 90 degree the potential energy comes out to be what? 0. Is it clear? So at 90 degree potential energy comes out to be 0. That's why the initial is taken at 90 degree, and then after we rotated the dipole. Is it clear? Then after we rotated the dipole, and that's why this is called the potential energy at a particular angle. Okay, if the dipole is kept at angle theta, then the potential energy of the dipole is given by this, because at 90 degree its potential energy is 0, and we have starting taking our difference from 90 degree. Okay, now there are some cases which should be learnt by you, and those cases are, just see. First case is, if theta is equal to 0 degree, then cos theta is equal to 1. In that case, u is equal to minus pe. Second case is if theta is equal to 90 degree, then cos 90 is 0. In that case, potential energy is 0. Third case is if theta is equal to 180 degree, then cos theta is minus 1. In that case, potential energy is plus P. In this case, the potential energy is minimum, and in this case, the potential energy is maximum. If you remember, while teaching torque also I have told these cases, okay, but not for potential energy, for torque. For 0 degree torque was 0, for 180 degree torque was also 0. So what we said that for 0 degree it is stable equilibrium, for 180 degrees it is unstable equilibrium. You see from here also, from 0 degree its potential energy is minimum, and if a system has minimum potential energy, the system is in stable equilibrium. Whereas here the potential energy is maximum, and because of maximum potential energy the system is in unstable equilibrium. At 90 degree there is no equilibrium, so there is no use of talking this. Okay, so this is for today. Okay, the notes will be given in the description link. If today the description link is not updated, then by tomorrow it will be. Okay, so start doing the second chapter, and please complete the first chapter so that you can solve the numericals of chapter number 1. If any questions, if you face doubt, let me know, whether in the comment, whether in the WhatsApp group or anywhere. Then after we'll discuss that numerical then and there, and if it is so much in numbers, then we'll do a video lecture. Okay, this is all for the day. Thank you.